Yo, what is up guys? So we have a ton of new Yu-Gi-Oh cards to check out, and there is some more support for our boy Pegasus, so I'm really excited about this because I really like that idea. His deck is all about Snatch Steal. We got a new card, the Faceless Illusionist Mage. We've got new VENDREADs to check out. Oh, by the way, this card is going to be out in the Legend Duelist 2, which we just got like the first one, but it's crazy they're already releasing a second one. But we got new VENDREADs to check out. We've got a ton of new cards to check out, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. I want to check out the VENDREADs first. This is the new zombie support. This card that you're seeing right here, it is in Spanish. However, courtesy of Italian Yu-Gi-Oh! Shoutouts to them, they actually translated it over here. But let's go ahead and check out all these new Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and let's talk a little bit about them. So, anyways, this is a secret rare. It's coming out in the new set Circuit Break, and it's VENDREAD Chimera. Anyways, you can ritual summon this card using any VENDREAD ritual spell card. And then it says, when a card or effect that destroys a card or cards on the field is activated as a quick effect, you get to banish one zombie from your graveyard, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. Okay, not too bad. And then if this card is tributed or banished for a ritual summon, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. You can only use each effect of it once per turn. Okay, the first effect is obviously pretty good, just being able to protect itself. Its stats are pretty mediocre, let's be honest, at the end of the day. 2300 is not too good. However, a lot of the VENDREAD stuff is like banish a spell, banish a trap as a quick effect. You know, believe it's like once per turn either player's when it has that effect. I like that the deck is very active in the sense that it's got to be fast. However, I'm not sure how I feel about the VENDREADs as an archetype as a whole, because if you guys didn't see what they do, I'm going to leave a video down below so it kind of explains it better. But basically, you use VENDREAD cards to bring out the VENDREAD rituals. And, well, I mean, that's kind of obvious, but they get bonus effects when you're using them as material for the ritual. Some of them let you banish spells, banish traps. At the end of the day, you invest so much into that one specific ritual, and then they get kaiju'd, and you're like, well, okay, game over. That's one thing I could see being frustrated with when you kind of give your monster too many buffs to make it good, and then they use one card. Artwork is definitely cool. I'm not sure if this is what they needed. The 500 stats, they're very mediocre in my personal opinion. But those of you guys that have been playing VENDREADs, I mean, the archetype was pretty small already. But is this really what we want? Is this really going to help out the deck? I mean, I guess it prevents Darkhold and Raigeki, which is the thing that kind of hurt the deck in the first place. I just don't see it being very, very strong, but you guys can let me know your thoughts down below. There's more VENDREAD cards, so maybe it'll all make sense later down the line. And banishing is kind of opposite of what you want to do in the archetype, I want to say. It would have been better if it said, take one of your banished ones, return it to the graveyard, then it activates the effect. That would have been really cool, but, you know. Next up, though, we got some extra cards. We got supports for DDs, the different dimension. I'm not talking about DDDs. That's kind of new and that's different. Anyways, this is a pretty old like legacy thing, but I guess we're getting more support for it. Let's check it out and see if it's actually any good. So this is the new card. DD Pursuer, a level 3 Dark Psychic effect monster, and it says, it stats 1500, 800 defense, stats mediocre. Anyways, you can only use this card's name effect once per turn. Quick effect, you can turn on one face-up monster you control, banish it until the end phase of next turn. I probably should say of the next turn, but whatever. Anyways, it would have been cool if it was like, you know, you banish one from your side and then you banish one from their side, or like just one face-up monster, but it has to be a face-up monster you control. I mean, it was like, I haven't seen different dimensions in so long. If you guys didn't know, DD Warrior Lady was one of the most popular different dimension cards. Doesn't really see any play. Well, I guess there's different like dimension fusion, but that was a card that was banned a long time ago. But anyways, I just don't think it's too strong. Or was it dimension? It's the one that like you pay half your life points to bring like all your banished stuff back. It's for the longest time we haven't had like a good different dimension deck, and that wasn't really even like an archetype that people really utilized. It was just kind of like, oh, these cards are good, put them in your deck. I don't know if this is a card. I mean, isn't this a card with E-Tally, right? It's a level 3 psychic. I feel like Necroface, is that like what you're supposed to be doing with this? I don't know. Maybe this is just one new card that we're getting for the archetype, and they're going to release a lot more, so it will all make sense. But there's nobody plays different dimensions as of right now. But it's kind of cool to see that we're getting some support for it, but I just think this is too mediocre. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below. Alright, but next up, we got this, like, anti-extra deck monster, but you can run it in any deck. Now, I did see this card as a fact, but I think it's amazing. Let's check it out. So this is World Shield. It's a World Legacy monster, And anyways, it's level 6 Dark Machine effect monster with 0 attack, but it's got 3,000 defense points. That's where it becomes good. Anyways, you can only use the card's third effect once per turn, but the first effect is this card in a monster zone is unaffected by the activated effects of monsters special summoned from the extra deck. And then the second effect says World Legacy cards you control in the same column as this card can neither be targeted nor destroyed by your opponent's effects. Pretty good. And then the third effect is if this card is in your graveyard during the standby phase, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon this card from the graveyard. Then your opponent can special summon one monster from their hand or graveyard. So that's a lot to take in. But anyways, the first effect of it being, negating the stuff from the extra deck only applies to itself and the World Legacy cards you control in the same column for the second effect. Now, at first, when it says that this card in a main, not main monster, but just the monster zone is unaffected, I don't know if this is a hint that they're trying to give us extra cards, because what other zone would it be in? Like, you can't put it in the extra deck monster zone, unless there is something that's going to let us do that, and I don't know if they're going to be like Crystal Beast effects, where you could, if they would be destroyed, you put them in like the back row instead. I don't know. I'm kind of confused on this. If anyone can make more sense of this, it would help out, because why is this relevant? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, at least. Maybe just due to translation, I don't know. But anyways, the second effect makes it so essentially what it lets you do is that your Link World Legacy monster will be protected, and your World Legacy spell or trap would be protected technically through the second effect of it. And then this effect is really good. It lets you just summon it in any deck, and you don't even have to be playing World Legacies. Obviously, yeah, it's kind of nice that it protects itself from, like, all the special summon monsters from the extra deck, but it's also got 3,000 defense points. Also, like, you can keep on bringing this back every single turn, and it says just during the standby phase, not yours, not your opponent's. It's just either just standby phase, okay, pay 1,000, get this card. And I know your opponent gets to special summon something. However, there are so many cards that say that when your opponent special summons a monster from their hand, or when your opponent special summons from their graveyard, or there's a lot of cards that can actually be activated against this card. And what's kind of interesting with this, let's say you happen to have Max C, they want to go for that extra card. You go ahead and say, all right, I'm a Max C, and obviously they're kind of invested at that point. So this card could be kind of good in a sense to make your opponent trigger one of their effects to, special summon this card, and then you activate something that says when your opponent special summons a card from their hand, you get to do this, this, and this. So it's kind of cool, although I would say most of the time this is probably going to be bad for you, unless, again, you're playing something that makes it so when your opponent special summons a monster from their hand, you get to do a special thing. That's what I think is kind of cool. I was also thinking that this card, since it's level 6, you could just like run it in a lot of different things. Right now, Beals is pretty strong. Hey, there's a dark monster, right? I think Beals requires like a dark tuner, but anyways, I was just saying, like, in synchro decks in general, like, you just like run this. I mean, it's just level 6 every single turn, pay 1,000, make it come back. It could be annoying just for any deck to deal with, because it's immune to things from the extra deck, and on top of that, it's got 3,000 defense points. So I mean, more likely it will survive. It's a little bit slow for some decks that would utilize it for like synchros or links, but it's going to survive, more than likely. I mean, heck, I don't know. This day in Yu-Gi-Oh! So many decks are so dang fast anyways, maybe they'll just be like, oh, I'm OTK you anyways. But I still think it's a pretty cool card. Let me know if you guys would run this in like a lot of different decks, because I could see it just be used like, heck, run a Lightsworn. In your graveyard, have to pay 1,000, get just a huge beater, summon Lumina, bring back another card, go for these crazy synchro plays, level eater off of it. I mean, the possibilities with this card, guys, is no joke. I think that this card will see some play in some random decks, and it's going to be hype. I don't know. I think it's a really cool card. But anyways, next up, more VENDREAD support courtesy and shoutouts to Italian Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, I don't know what this monster is called. It's just, I don't know, crows? It's a new zombie for the VENDREADs. Anyways, looks like it, like one of the pictures looks like it's crows with a bunch of snakes for its head, or there's long bird necks. Anyways, they're calling it 083. Okay, so anyways, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can reveal one VENDREAD card in your hand. If you do, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then, if this card on the field is used for a ritual summon of a VENDREAD ritual monster, the monster gains the following effect after damage calculation. If this card battled an opponent's monster, you can draw one card and discard one card. Okay, and the stats are 2,000 defense points. It's level 2 with 500 attack. So, stats are pretty mediocre. Like, I know it's got 2,000 defense, but who sets cards? Besides maybe crawlers, but that deck, I don't know, I've actually did a video on that deck. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave it down below. But for the most part, setting it is probably going to be out of the question. It doesn't have a, if it had like maybe a flip effect, that would be kind of cool. As far as its effect, I mean, yeah, I guess you're able to, you know, reveal a card in your hand and just special summon it, but I just think that that's kind of mediocre. If it was like a higher level that you can use for ritual, it would help out a lot more. That would be kind of cool. But the bonus effect of, you know, if the monster has to attack and it has to be after damage calculation, then you could draw one and discard one. Yeah, it kind of helps out with fuel for the first card that we talked about, which was the Chimera. That's kind of cool, extra cards just so you can banish more cards, and also lets you, you know, set up your graveyard with extra zombies, because you don't have to discard like a VENDREAD card, it just has to be discard one card. So it's kind of nice in that sense, but I think it's a little bit mediocre for the archetype. I mean, we need faster effect. We need some type of negation, some type of stun. I mean, drawing a card and discarding is not terrible, but I'm pretty sure there's a Djinn. I'm not talking about the Djinn that you side deck when your opponent, you know, says, you know, when you go game 2 we side out the Djinn. Not that Djinn. I don't remember the Djinn name, but I'm pretty sure there's already a Djinn that does the same effect. It's like, I think you just draw one card too. You don't even have to discard. So I don't know. It is a VENDREAD card technically. I just think it's kind of mediocre. Anyways, we're here for the next card that I actually am really excited about. This is the Illusionist Faceless Mage. That's the Pegasus support. Well, technically in the pack there's more than just Pegasus, but there's like insect queens and stuff. But I was really interested in this card because I think the archetype is pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen how the new Pegasus deck functions with the Thousand Eyes, Millennium Eyes cards, I'm gonna link it down below. It's a really cool deck, and I'm actually really excited about it because it's a fan favorite, you know, character, and some of the cards aren't that bad. Like they have some potential. Anyways, we got the Magical Illusionist Faceless Mage. That's the guy over here. So it's level 5. Oh gosh. Okay, hold on. Let's read its effect first, because I already think level 5. Are you going to tribute for this card? Really? Tributing is like outdated mechanic. Let's be honest here. Anyways, so Illusionist Faceless Mage, level 5, Dark Spellcaster, 1200 attack, 22 defense points. You can only use each effect of a Magical Illusionist Faceless Mage once per turn. The first effect says, if a face-up Eyes Restrict Fusion monster or relinquish control is destroyed by battle by card effect, and this card is in your hand or your graveyard, you can just special summon it. Okay, I guess your summon condition is not that bad. Anyway, second effect. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get target Eyes Restrict, Fusion monster, or relinquish in your graveyard and special summon that monster. Wow, okay. Well, this gets a little bit interesting over here. Okay, so the summon condition, it doesn't really matter. It's actually pretty easy. Gosh, because the only if it was the Eyes Restrict or Fusion monster, which is sent to the graveyard, this card would be spicy. It would be so amazing, because what that means, guys, is you could just go summon it, absorb a card, then go ahead and go into like a Link Karibo or something, and then just summon this and bring it back and then absorb again. That would have been amazing, but it doesn't do that. Okay, well, one thing that I will say that's kind of cool, it doesn't say how many you can have. It doesn't say you can only control one. You can only use each effect of it once per turn. I mean, the stats are, I don't know if it's going to survive, but as soon as it's sent from the field to graveyard, you get to bring back another card. It has to be from the field to graveyard. Oh, should have been just, if it was sent to the graveyard, it would activate its effect. Alright, there's a few problems I already see with this card. I wanted it to be good, okay? I really wanted this card to be super, super strong. But, I guess if you synchro with it, you can bring back another one. If this card was a tuner, alright? I mean, I guess you could run a card to convert it to a tuner, but who's running that? Like I said, I want it to be good. It's not terrible, but it's kind of cool. You can, you know, absorb a monster, that monster goes away, you bring that back, and then this card dies, you bring the card back to absorb again. It's cool, but it's not like competitive level. Yeah, it ain't Spirals, alright? But anyways, we got another card over here. This is the field spell card. I know the image is a little bit strange here, but anyways, we're going to check out the new VENDREAD Knight's field spell card. So it says you can discard one card, you discard a card, add one VENDREAD monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn, and then when/if a VENDREAD monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's monster by battle, you can banish one VENDREAD monster from your graveyard. That monster can make a second attack in a row on an opponent's monster. Okay. So if you destroy one, you can destroy another one. Okay, that helps out that draw power card that we just talked about. What lets you can draw, and this doesn't say it's affects once per turn. So I guess okay. So that I guess technically can help out. But again, I still think the Djinn card. There's a Djinn card that lets you just straight up draw one. You don't have to go minus. But I don't know. Maybe like the discard helps out in the deck. As far as attacking twice, I mean, it's definitely a nice bonus. I mean, really what it comes down to is, you know, you could discard a card and add a VENDREAD, but at the same time, you got to go minus to add one. If it was just like you activate it, you add one, would have been a lot better. That's my personal thoughts on VENDREAD Knights. So I feel like the VENDREAD stuff, it's not too bad, but it's not like, it doesn't seem like it has that like competitive, wow, that's good. Unfortunately, neither is that guy, man. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on all these cards. You guys have any cool combo or other ideas with them? I would love to know, because there's some cards with potential. Like I said, I think that this card over here, the World Legacy, it's gonna be crazy with Level Eater. I could see people running in like synchro decks, or just you can use it as link material. Just another monster that just keeps on coming back every single turn. Heck, dude, you know what would be crazy? You bring back Treeborn Frog, you bring this back. Oh, dude, you can probably do something with some links, dude. Like that's Level Eaters too. Like I don't know, there's possibilities. I like cards that are toolboxy, and it seems like it could be a pretty decent card. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to be updated on the latest new Yu-Gi-Oh cards and fidget spinners.